tremendous success in
Are you aware there are 100 studies that suggest that it doesn't work?
There are also studies show that it does work. If you look at the Harvard
But
Business
those are
Review,
done.
Deloitte.
Well, let's look at the Harvard Business Review, because they actually did a study. The study found that over 5 years, 800 plus businesses consistently lost diversity in their managers.
Dr. Phil has been on an absolute rampage recently when it comes to wrecking the woke mob. He's going on other people's shows and just absolutely destroying all of their woke talking points, such as Whoopi Goldberg in The View, Bill Maher on his own podcast and his Real Time with Bill Maher show. And now we have Dr. Phil on his own show, bringing on DEI initiative pushing people and absolutely destroying them. This title from this YouTube video says, Dr. Phil, Pastor James Ward Jr., the truth behind DEI initiatives. And this is, this lady right here on the screen is someone who is pushing DEI very, very hard. And Dr. Phil just absolutely obliterates her about DEI and all of her other woke talking points. Let's check out this little intro where the lady will introduce all of the ways that she thinks and how she thinks the country should move forward with this DEI and this woke nonsense. And then we'll get to Dr. Phil just absolutely destroying her. Let's check this clip out here from Dr. Phil.
It's in an organization where we've had quotas.
I'll damn sure tell you that there is a body count.
I was seen as somebody with false consciousness. I was seen as somebody who was a traitor to his race.
If DEI works anywhere, it has to work everywhere. Let me tell you where DEI does not work.
Our country is getting more and more diverse. If you look at the census, in the next couple of decades, white people will no longer be the majority. So DE&I is one of the most significant and important aspects of HR. So it's diversity, equity, and inclusion. And we need to be able to understand how to effectively work together so people feel valued and contribute to the organization in a positive way. I really don't want to.
Here's what I don't understand. This lady is saying that there's no quotas, but there is a DEI program. Well, if there is no quotas, if there's nothing saying that you have to hire this amount of this race, this amount of that race, this amount of this gender, and all this other stuff, which there is, but just hypothetically, let's take her at her word and say that there isn't. What is the point in there being a DEI program anyway? And that, if that's the case, because if that's the case, if there's no quotas, it has to be hit. It's just, we want to just promote diversity, equity, and inclusion. It's like, okay, number one, equity is dumb. Like you don't want that. Number two, if you just want to promote diversity and it's supposed to be organic, well, that's just called being an actual human and not like a racist or anything like that. That's just called being, a normal, kind, fair human being whenever you're hiring people. That's just hiring the best person for the job, and there will be natural diversity because, like this lady said with her own words, the country is becoming more and more diverse. So wouldn't that mean that if everything is fair, that there would just, naturally be more, organically be more diversity within the workplaces as well? You shouldn't need a program. Especially, you shouldn't need an equity program where there is quotas that need to be hit. And Dr. Phil's going to go in on her in just 1 second.
I'm gonna come off as a white savior. As somebody with privilege, as a white woman, it is easier for me to speak up in an organization because there is usually going to be less bias towards somebody who looks like me. So when I hear that DEI is sort of a liberal agenda, that goes back to the fact that DEI is not charity work. Businesses are helping them get in touch with their customers, they're improving their employer brand, and they're able to be more creative.
It's nonsense though, because they can hide behind the guise of, oh yeah, if you don't think that more diversity, if you don't think more minorities should be getting hired, then you're just racist, you're just a bad person. But it's like, by forcing this diversity on people, I don't think that workplaces shouldn't be diverse. I just think it should be organic. It should be the bbest people for the job should get hired. And that's not a hot take. It's not a crazy base take. That's just normal. Like, everybody thinks that way. Most people think that way, and then you can use, because this has been in colleges, this has been in schools for a long time, that they've been forcing these things. And there's a lot of like Asian students when it comes to Ivy League schools and the top schools that don't get in simply because they're Asian, even though they score a whole lot more than other minority, groups, other minority races. And the Asian students just don't get in because they're Asian. I mean, that's just straight up racism. That's not diversity, equity, and inclusion. That's just racism. That's just someone being Asian and being punished for being Asian, because on average, Asians are smarter. So there's going to be a higher, or sorry, I don't want to say on average they're smarter, but on average they do better in school. On average, they're getting into the Ivy League colleges at a higher rate than other minority groups. So they're going to get in more, and they're going to be punished because they don't want too many Asian. It's ridiculous, man. Let the best, the most qualified people for the job get the job. Let the most qualified students get into the schools. It's as simple as that. And if diversity happens organically, great. If it doesn't happen, who cares? Who cares? Honestly, who cares? Why does it matter? If as long as the best people are getting the jobs, the best students are getting into the schools and getting the scholarships, who cares?
It just doesn't make sense to me.
Welcome.
Thank you.
When you say diversity, what do you mean?
For me personally, and I think for the industry and in corporate, we are looking at it broadly. We're looking at diversity as bringing in different backgrounds, whether that is industry experience, race, gender.
If you enjoy content like this, then make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It really does help me out a ton. Let's get back to the video.
Sexual orientation.
Well, now, wait a minute. When you're doing diversity training, you're not talking about industry experience. You're talking about racial diversity. You're talking about gender.
We're talking about all of the above. I think good diversity programs are really about broadening perspectives within an organization. And I've certainly worked for organizations where
Of course it works for what they want. Like she said, it's all about looks. It's all about what it looks like. It's all about the color of people's skin, the gender, and these things. And I don't know why these people even try to hide behind the fact. Like she's trying to tell Dr. Phil that it's about what background they have and all this other nonsense. Just tell them it's about race and it's about gender. That's all it's about. And it's like it's everywhere and it's always accepted. Like what she's saying there, it's always accepted when it's not white people. You know, and I don't think that I'm not saying this is right for any race to do this. Like, I think it's kind of gross, like every time a race does it, but it's socially acceptable for all other races except for white people to hire based on certain backgrounds and skin color and stuff like this and accept people into certain groups unless it's white people based on skin color and things like that. For example, just something I can think off the top of my head, okay? I play like men's softball, right? Like slow pitch softball with like all my high school baseball friends and college baseball friends. And there's this group that is it's like a black league, and they'll post on Facebook groups, right? There's like a Facebook group that you can go look at to see, like, if you want to go play, they'll post in there, like, looking for players, and it's a black league. You're only allowed 2 non-black people or something like that, 2 or 3. I think it's 2. And when they post in the Facebook group looking for people, they'll say, need 2 others. They literally call them others. And it's like, I don't really take offense to it. I think it's kind of weird that they're called that white people are called others in that sense. But it's like, I don't really care that much. But imagine if there was a white softball league and they posted on a Facebook group and said, we're looking for 2 others, referring to non-white groups. It's like, that would get shut down so quickly, but nobody cares. Like, white people aren't taking offense to it. In fact, like, we go play in those leagues, you know, like we'll go play. Like, yeah, sure, I'll be an other. Like, it's just, we don't care. We laugh about it, but it's fine. It's socially acceptable for them to do that, for people to exclude based on race, as long as you're not white. It's like, personally, I don't think we should be able to, I don't think anybody should want to. Like, I don't think it should be a law against it. I just don't understand why you want to exclude based on race in general, but it's fine whenever they're not white. You know, this lady would have no problem with it as long as they're not a white group.
Seeing tremendous success in
Are you aware there are 100 studies that suggest that it doesn't work?
There are also studies show that it does work. If you look at the Harvard
But
Business
those are
Review,
done.
Deloitte.
Well, let's look at the Harvard Business Review, because they actually did a study. The study found that over 5 years, 800 plus businesses consistently lost diversity in their managers, that no improvement in the proportions of white women, blacks, Hispanics, and Asians, and the participants feel external power trying to control their behavior.
Mm-hmm. So I can only lean on my experience. So I've worked for 13 different companies throughout the course of my career. And what I have seen is that employee engagement increases, employees...
Shut up. We all know that this isn't the case, and that's not what they're looking for whenever they're trying to decide if DEI is working or not. What they're looking for is my company, my corporation, whatever, my group, are they getting more diverse? Are they getting less white male? That's it. That's what they're looking for. And if yes, it's a success. But here is where things start to get heated, and Dr. Phil actually goes after her and starts to really pick apart all of these dumbass arguments that this lady is making to Dr. Phil.
Some demographics come to the table and have to overcome racism, unconscious bias, misogyny. And so how do we help level the playing field for everyone?
Okay, so that means you're trying to create equality of outcome. That's what I hear you saying about playing God.
Yeah.
How do you create equality of outcomes?
Like networks, referral programs, and so who are we going to refer? We're going to refer the people that we know who are in our neighborhoods or who play golf with the CEO. And so you start to have a population in your organization that looks very much the same. And so,
But why? Like, it's only a bad thing though when the population that looks the same is white. That's what I don't understand. I don't think we should. If a company wants to hire a bunch of people that are their friends and it's like the CEO that's doing it, as long as it's not like a teacher or something that's going to affect, the youth and be able to brainwash people. If a company wants to hire a bunch of people at their detriment, possibly, if it's only going to affect their bottom line, their revenue, their cash flow, their profits, go ahead and let them do it. The thing is, these people, these DEI weirdos, like this lady here on Dr. Phil, they only have a problem with it when it's all white people and all white males. Like if there's a company that hired a bunch of their friends and a bunch of employees got referred and they were black or they were, Hispanic or something like that, or they were women, she wouldn't have a problem with it. It's only the DEI is only trying to reduce the amount of white males that are working together. Like that's all that it's doing. And in my opinion, these people right here, like this lady, she's just brainwashed and she's an agent of the Matrix, as they say. And this DEI stuff is just more propaganda to further divide us. I don't think we should have a problem with it. If a company wants to hire a bunch of their friends, like I said, as long as they're not teachers and affecting the youth, being able to brainwash people and things like that, then I think they should be able to do it. Like I said, if their the only consequence can be their bottom line, their products, their profits, let them hire who the hell they want to hire. I guarantee you it'll end up being, for the most part, it'll end up being the best people for the job if you actually want to succeed in business. Anyway, let me know in the comments what you're thinking about Dr. Phil absolutely picking apart this woke lunatics DEI stuff. Let me know in the comments what you thought about the whole clip in general of Dr. Phil here on Dr. Phil Primetime. If you did enjoy the video, please leave a like, subscribe, all that good stuff. I hope to see you guys on the next one.